Welcome back to Jet Recaps. Today I will show you a fantasy movie from 2014, titled Miss Granny. The first scene begins with Mal Soon, narrating the woes of women, as they grow older. She had always hated the label that comes with old age. She had vowed as a young woman, to kill herself before the age of 30. But life happens, and she ends up with a baby, and just a year after marriage, she becomes a widow. Now at 74, Mal Soon is everything she had discriminated against in her youth. She is stubborn, foul-mouthed, controlling, and shameless. At the senior cafe, where she works with her colleague and friend, Park, she is known for her sharp tongue, and regular fights with customers, which Park always lets her get away with. His unmarried daughter never gets why he regularly leaps into the middle of a conflict, to protect Mal Soon. But he does it, because he had always loved her right from when he was her family's servant. Mal Soon, on the other hand, refuses to accept his feelings, despite his best efforts to impress her. While at home, Mal Soon makes living difficult for her depressed daughter-in-law, Aja. In her opinion, Aja does nothing which is pleasing to her. She is not even allowed to make decisions for her son, Ji-ha. Despite Aja's concern for Ji-ha to get a job, Mal Soon would send Ji-ha out to music practice with her blessings. And this makes Ji-ha a struggling songwriter, and a leader of an unsuccessful music band. However, despite Mal Soon's difficult personality, there is one person she has a soft spot for. And that is Yoon Chol, her son, whom she had solely raised. And her pride and joy, he is now a university professor. As the day goes by, she continues to pester Aja at home. Until one day, Aja suddenly collapses, and was rushed to the hospital. At the hospital, the doctor advises the family against things that causes her stress. Knowing Mal Soon is the major cause of her stress, they decide to send her to a nursing home. Their decision disturbs Mal Soon, and as she wanders the street, she comes across a mysterious photo studio, with the name, Forever Young Portrait Studio. She laughs at the studio claim, to make her 50 years younger. However, she decides to take one last self-portrait, believing it will soon be needed for her funeral. Oblivious of the change that had happened, she rushes to catch a bus, to meet Ji-ha for dinner. And she is taken aback by the odd stares, and passes directed at her by young males. But she soon knows the reason, when she catches her reflection in a mirror. The photo studio had turned out to be true with their claims. And Mal Soon had been transformed into a 20-year-old beautiful lady. Dumbfounded, she rushes back to the studio, but she finds a restaurant in its place. Confused about what to do, she refuses to go home and hides from her family. But she soon decides to make the most out of this lifetime opportunity. She takes on a new name, Do-ri, and goes for a makeover. She also gets a haircut, mimicking the style of her favorite actress, Audrey Hepburn, and afterward, rent a room from Park, who doesn't recognize her. Though she looks young, she continues to speak, walk and behave like an old woman, which surprises everyone. Especially Park, as her behavior reminds him of Mal Soon. One day at the seniors' cafe, she decides to sing to a karaoke tune. And she sang so beautifully, that it attracted many people to the cafe. Including a TV music producer, Sung Woo, who was frustrated with his unlucky search for talented singers. As the crowd applauds her, she sees her grandson Ji-ha. Shocked, she runs out of the cafe. And immediately, Ji-ha and producer Sung Woo run after her, in an attempt to recruit her into their bands. But they couldn't find her. However, with the help of Park, Ji-ha later finds her at home. Also not recognizing her, he invites her to join his band as a lead vocalist, and she agrees. But she is shocked at the noise they sing in the name of music. So she convinces them to switch to suitable music, appealing to the audience. And in no time, the band began to get popular with her as a lead vocalist. Meanwhile, producer Sung Woo continues to audition for talented singers. And continues to look for the girl, whom he heard singing in the cafe. Luckily, he sees her on a train ride one day, and decides to trail her home. But, thinking he is a stalker, she calls the police on him. However, luck shines on him, when she shows up with her band for one of his auditions. She is shocked to see him, and after confirming he is a producer, she apologizes to him. And despite their zero experience with TV, he takes them under his wings. But he has issues with Ji-ha's songs, and plans to use another songwriter. Because he claims that Ji-ha's songs don't suit Do-ri's personality. This makes Ji-ha angry, and he wishes to quit. But Do-ri makes him see reason, and encourages him to write new songs. Thrilled to be pursuing her career in music, Do-ri goes home to share the news with Park. But Park confronts her about the disappearance of Malsoon. Earlier, he had watched suspicious CCTV footage of Do-ri in the police station. And this had raised his suspicions of her. On searching through her things in her absence, he had found Malsoon's dentures in her bag. Thinking she had killed Malsoon, he begs her to kill him too. And when he confesses his feelings for Malsoon, she feels sorry for him. And she reveals her true identity to him. With her identity revealed to Park, she soon gets romantically caught between him and producer Sung-woo. While her young self is physically attracted to Sung-woo, her old self is drawn to Park, who continues to impress her. He takes her on his bike to her music session, just as he always did with her older version. And does his best to keep up with her youthful exuberance, wearing himself out. However, his sudden relationship with Do-ri leaves his daughter worried. As she believes, Do-ri is only after his money. Do-ri injures herself while swimming one day, and she and Park learn that she ages when she bleeds. Relieved that Do-ri can now reverse to her old self to be with him, Park is disappointed at her indecisiveness. On the other hand, Park's daughter catches him treating her wounds, and she couldn't take it anymore. So she kicks Do-ri out of the house. Park then tries to convince Yoon-chul to take her in, claiming Do-ri is his mother. But he disbelieves him, thinking Park is suffering from Alzheimer's. With nowhere else to go, Do-ri calls producer Sung-woo, who takes her in. And as they spend more time together, their feelings for each other grow. Meanwhile, with Do-ri's help, Ji-ha's songwriting skills improve. And he is permitted to play his songs at the next special summer concert. But, on the concert day, Ji-ha gets stuck in traffic. So he leaves the taxi and decides to ride a bike to the concert. But unfortunately, he gets hit by a lorry on his way. However, Do-ri goes on stage to sing his song, intending to save his musical career. And the song turned out to be a success, as it caused a great sensation in the crowd. And right after she finishes singing, she dashes to the hospital. At the hospital, she discovers that he is at a critical stage, and in urgent need of a blood transfusion. However, the hospital is short on blood supply, and she is the only one who matches his blood type. Meanwhile, Yoon-chul is finally convinced that Do-ri is his mother. And he tries to dissuade her, when she offers to donate her blood. Because this would return her to her aged condition, costing her a successful musical career. And her newfound love life with producer Sung-woo. Notwithstanding, she donates her blood to save her grandson. 1 year later, Ji-ha's music band takes off with his sister as the vocalist. Though Malsoon is back to her old self, she continues to be sharp-mouthed and stubborn. She now has a good relationship with Aja. The movie comes to an end, as a young Park, who would find the same photo studio, picks Malsoon up at a bus stop, and they ride off bickering as they always do. If you enjoyed this recap, kindly like and subscribe to our channel, and click on the bell icon. Do let us know what you think about the movie in the comment section below. Enjoy other movie explanations on our channel. Thanks for watching.